Yes, welcome along to episode 3 of Upping The Ante in association with Bet365 with David Jennings and Gavin Lynch, counting down to the 2022 Cheltenham Festival. And Gavin, it was one hell of a weekend of racing.
Brilliant. I have to say, since the Gold Cup day at Cheltenham, we've had good racing, great racing at Aintree, Punchestown. I love the 2-day meeting in Down Royal. Last weekend was great with the 3 days at Cheltenham and 2 days at Punchestown. But Saturday for me was the best day's racing we've seen since Gold Cup day.
Whoa!
Yeah, I just, from start to finish, from 12 o'clock, which was great, didn't have to wait till 2:30. We're kicking off with Bob at 12 o'clock, and from right through the afternoon, punters won a load of money, got the bookie chappies, great day's racing.
Were you just on the couch all day?
In and out of the house.
Did your family interfere with you at all?
Not so much, yeah. No.
They just know to leave you?
It was only 2 or 3 hours, but Saturday was just, from start to finish, was really top class.
Best day's racing since the Gold Cup?
Yep.
Well, in that case, there's a lot to talk about, Gavin.
Yep.
You know what we need to do? We need to get on with the show. Yes, we're going to kick off with our questions from the crowd, and get your questions into us. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Send us in your questions. We'll try and answer as many as we can. And this week we're going to try and squeeze in 5, Gavin. So you're going to have to be quick.
Right.
And the first one of the 5 comes in from Ed O'Hagan, and it's what you've all been talking about all weekend. It is Brave Man's Game and Bob Ollinger, Gavin.
Yeah.
They made their, well, I suppose Brave Man's Game was a second start over fences. Bob Ollinger's first start over fences within a couple of minutes of each other on Saturday. Who will achieve more over fences?
Bob.
Yeah.
Brave Man's Game, his jumping was absolutely exemplary, perfect. You couldn't see any better. Bob Ollinger has a little bit to improve in that regard. Down the back straight, he showed that he has the scope. He jumped the ones down the back very, very well. Pecked on land a little bit 3 out. Was let fiddle the last by Dara, and he did. He was a little bit awkward, but it was a very good beginner's chase. Bob Ollinger beat him by 12 lengths in the Ballymore back in March. So to me, there's no doubt that Bob will be the main man.
We disagree a lot on this show, Gavin, but I cannot agree with you more.
Good.
A colleague of mine in the Racing Post, Graham Rodway, did a show on Monday evening, and he said 10 times out of 10, Brave Man's Game would beat Bob Ollinger over fences. Now, I don't know what planet Rodder's living on.
If he wants a bet, I'll have a
Will he
bet.
come to you?
Oh, 100%.
10 times out of 10. So that means every time they run against one another, if they run against the other 10 times, Brave Man's Game will beat him 10 times. That's just ridiculous. To me, right, Brave Man's Game is a better jumper than him, and probably always will be. Mm-hmm. But ability-wise, we saw in the Ballymore, where I was all over Brave Man's Game.
Yeah, he's your favourite horse, we're one of them.
I love the horse, and everything went perfect for him in the Ballymore. I even spoke to Paul Nichols about this, and he was the same. They were flabbergasted when Bob Ollinger went by.
And the brilliant camera angle that we saw, do you remember?
Brilliant camera angle, and Rachel is thanking. That horse has so much ability, it's incredible. And people were giving out about his that was his first start over fences. I watched it again this morning. First 3-4 fences, I give him an 8 out of 10 maybe. Mm-hmm. Then maybe obviously the third last when he was attacking it, he just obviously pecked a little bit, but it's a new experience.
Yeah, he jumped
for
it
him.
fine, yeah.
He jumped it fine. He might never ever be as good a jumper as Brave Man's Game, who is for me as good a novice as I've ever seen jumping. But ability-wise, he's got so much more ability than Brave Man's Game. And we spoke about this earlier. That last 100 yards for Brave Man's Game.
Yeah, I think we'll talk about it in the week that was. There's a few more points that we need to make about the two of them. So.
I just don't know how easily.
But I'd be Bob anyway.
Yeah, I'd be Bob. Bob all day long.
Bob.
It's all about Bob, Ed. Our second question this week comes in from Toby Freer, and Toby wants to know, even at this early stage, Gavin, do we think it's going to be an Irish dominance, and what do we think the scoreline is going to be?
It won't be as dominant maybe as last year, 23-5. I could see it maybe being 18-10, but I just went through a few kind of things from last year's festival. The 5 English trained horses that won, or British trained horse that won, one was Porlock Bay, who might go back for a hunter's chase, but he's 10. We've got Sky Pirate, who won the Grand Annual. He's not going to win a champion chase. He's going to be higher in the Grand Annual, so he mightn't win. Vintage Clouds was 11 in March, so he might struggle again in Ultima. So that leaves you with Shishkin and Chantry House, 2 lovely horses. They won the Arkle, they won the Marsh. Shishkin's a superstar, brilliant horse, so he's obviously got a great chance. He's favourite, 7-4, I think, for the champion chase. Chantry House is like a 10, 12 to 1 shot for the Gold Cup. So I'm just saying last year's winners wouldn't excite you that much. In terms of the Irish trained winners, there was 1 bumper and 13 hurdles. That's 14. How many of the 14 did Ireland win? Go on, just guess.
So 1 bumper and
13 hurdle races, which is 14.
12.
14 out of 14.
Oh, really? To be honest, I should have got that from your mention the 5 to 1, because they were all chasers.
Yeah. So Ireland won the 13 hurdle races and the bumper. Wow. And also to mention that, the best hurdle race obviously is the Champion Hurdle, the Stairs Hurdle, the Supreme, the Ballymore, the Bartlett and the Triumph. So Ireland won all of those, but they won by 6.5 lengths in the Champion, 3 lengths in the Stayers, 24 lengths in the Supreme, 7.5 lengths Bob in the Ballymore. The Bartlett was 11 lengths, and the Triumph was 3 lengths. Like, they're all easy winners. And the other thing is that of the 23 Irish trained winners, 19 of them were age 7 or less. So they're not going anywhere. They were 7 or less. So most of them are going to come back again in March. So I think, like, as we said 2 weeks ago, Willie, Gordon and Henry, what price are they to beat everybody else, including all the other Irish trainers?
Yeah, it's probably
I'd say they're
odds on.
Yeah, I think they're 4 to 6 twos on. Like, there's a bet there.
3 trainers to beat the English.
Yeah, and to beat the rest of the Irish guys as well. Because if they have 15, obviously they're going to have 15, 13.
So England v Ireland, what do you think the score will be again?
I'd say 18-10, because we don't know about the handicaps yet. If the English ones are going to be dropped this year, or the Irish ones are going to be penalised more. 18-10, what do you think?
I'm going to go 17-11 for one reason. Dan the man. I think Dan Skelton could have a good Cheltenham this year.
Okay.
He, we obviously saw at West Cork, he's laying that horse out for the county hurdle. He has got My Drogo, he's got third time lucky. He could be running against exceptional Irish horses, but Dan Skelton, I think, will have 2 or more winners at the Cheltenham Festival.
Okay.
So I think he's going to help the English charge. Yeah. So there you go. 17-11, 18-10. We're still dominating, Gavin.
Yeah.
Our next question comes in from Leon Healy, and Leon says the Gold Cup is now a 2-horse race, Gavin. It's all about A Plus Tard and Manila Indo. Nothing else matters. He says this is like Denman and Cotto Star all over again. Discuss.
It's too simple to say that, really.
Too soon or too simple?
Both. Too soon and too simple. Racing never works out that easy. We did say, I think, a month ago when we did the preview for Upping The Ante that
you did.
That they were good value at 6-1 and 10-1, which they were at the time.
Yeah, I kind of disagreed with you, but yeah, you were right.
Things can change quite quickly. Like this time last year, Plus Tard wasn't on many people's list for the Gold Cup.
No.
I think Plus Tard is 7-2, Manila Indo is 11-2. But you still have the King George to come. So if, say, let's say Chantry House on one of those, or if it's could
be himself,
or NVLN. So you'd have to wait till that race is over. The Sables at Christmas. There's lots of things to happen. NVLN is 8-1, Chantry House is 12s. It's 20-1 bar 4 in places. So look, the two of them stand out. They set a very high standard. Age profile to me is a huge thing. A Plus Tard is 7. Manila Indo is 8, turning 9. That's okay. Album Photo is turning 10. So you have to keep that in the back of your head. But they set a high standard, yeah.
7-2 A Plus Tard. The right favourite, the right price?
I would say so, yeah. Obviously the race fell apart on Saturday, but the time was good. For me, it was the best A Plus Tard's ever jumped. Yeah. So to take a pull 4 out, to visually quicken in front of your eyes 2 out, to visually quicken again after the last.
And one thing I will say, obviously, people watching the show will say any jockey would have won on A Plus Tard, which is right, any jockey would have won. But I just thought the home straight was a sign of how far Rachel Blackmore has come as a jockey, because it's not easy in a Grade 1 when you're clear not to panic.
Yeah.
And that was just pure poetry. It was calmness personified. It was just, every stride was perfect. Even coming into the last, I was watching the race with my father and I said, what's she going to do here? The revs are up. And it wasn't that she slowed up, it wasn't that she speeded up, it was just the right stride and she saw it from a long way out. I just thought Rachel was terrific on her.
Like, if you go and watch Capard beating Mount Leinster on Sunday in Navan, that'll tell you why Rachel is probably now the best jockey, male or female. I always felt that Nina Carberry was going to be the greatest female jockey I'd ever seen and she'd never be beat. But at this stage, we have to say that Rachel's better and Nina's number 2 for me. But yeah, she's fantastic.
There you go. Rachel is the woman. And the next one comes in from Kelly Kilcoyne. Kelly's a big fan of yours, Gavin.
All right.
Kelly says that you are an encyclopedia when it comes to racing.
Encyclopedias are gone. It's Google now.
Could you even spell encyclopedia?
No.
I won't even ask you to.
No.
Okay. What she wants to know is how long did you spend reviewing last weekend's action? So you said it was obviously a brilliant day on Saturday. Okay. How long did you spend reviewing the action? And can you give Kelly any punting tips?
It makes a huge difference if you get to watch the racing undisturbed. Then you only have to maybe watch it once more.
You married a wonderful woman, Gavin.
But that was Saturday. So Saturday a few hours. Now on Sunday, I was at a Gaelic match and I was being an umpire. At one goal, seeing was the ball going over the bar or wide or whatever. So I was trying to watch the Tri-Town at the same time as being an umpire. So that didn't work. So I've had to watch the Tri-Town a couple of times since.
Right.
But so it depends if it's...
Don't try this at home, ladies and gentlemen.
Not when you're driving either. But yeah, it depends if you get to see it, at that moment, and try and be analytical as you can, and then you have to look at your videos again on Monday.
Okay, so how much time?
I don't know.
So Navan Sunday, have you watched the replays yet?
I have, yeah.
Okay. And you are
I'd say it probably only take half an hour, 40 minutes per meeting.
Okay, and you watched the jumps. It was something that you said to me before. You watch all the jumps.
Yeah, I'd watch the start of the race, the first number of furlongs to see about tactics and pace, and they started slowly, and then I just watch each jump, and then I would watch from about, say, 4 furlongs out and just let it play out.
And do you write everything down?
I wouldn't know, but I'd put in pointers for each day. So for each meeting, I might write in 4 or 5 horses to remember he has to go right-handed. They went too slow. And I would also always look at the times of each race and compare them, but only compare with similar races on the day. And the last thing, always read the trainer's quotes, because they can just, when they're excited and they're prating afterwards, they can say things.
Give a little bit away.
Yeah, so that's
like
good.
Gordon after the Tri-Town on Sunday with Run Wild Fred.
Yeah.
He's got the National Hunt Chase written all over him.
That's if Michael allows it. But
and I said to him, what about the boss's Oscar? I tipped him last week.
But punting tips, keep a diary, be honest with yourself. Don't be betting on a load of different sports. I don't anyway, because I wouldn't have a clue. I could chat to you with Gaelic football or soccer, as we call it in the UK or whatever, about Liverpool and Man United and Man City, but I wouldn't have a clue as regards betting. So bet on 1 or 2 things and keep a diary and enjoy it, and don't bet too heavy.
Final question, what is your forte? What do you think you're really good at when it comes to racing and Irish racing? Is there a certain type of race that you do better on?
I prefer national hunt racing. I think there's less luck involved. I think with the flat, 6 furlongs, 7 furlongs round the bend, the draw, you think that you have to have a low draw, but then sometimes if the ground goes yielding, you have to have a wide draw. So there's a lot of more luck, I think, in the flat. But in the national hunt, I think the best race wins 9 races out of 10. And the other thing I'll say to you is that don't worry so much with the last furlong. I think nearly most races in national hunt are won between 3 out and 2 out, as in regards furlongs, are between the 2 and the 1. The last furlong doesn't matter as much for me. Anyway.
Okay. So your number 1 tip to Kelly is keep a diary?
Keep a diary, be honest, and specialise, and don't bet too heavy.
There you go, Kelly. There's 4 tips for you.
Yeah.
Gavin's punting encyclopedia. And our 5th and final question this week comes in from Eric McCann. And Eric wants us both to provide a horse at 50 to 1 or bigger, Gavin, so we can have a bit of fun and stick a fiver on it for the 2022 Cheltenham Festival.
Now,
so 50 to 1 or bigger.
I had a look, and there's no point in me giving you a 50 to 1 shot that's got, I think, no chance, right?
Lord Jesus, every
Because
year.
if you stick a
Every
tenner,
year.
right, at 50 to 1,
You lose a tenner.
you lose a tenner. But I have on a 40 to 1 for you.
This is like deja vu. I feel like we're in lockdown again like last year.
Deja-
So what, you're not giving one a 50 to 1, so you're not answering Eric's question. We move on.
I am, no, wait. Well, I have a horse that I think is good value
Okay,
at big price.
so what price is it?
40 to 1.
40 to 1, okay.
It was 40s yesterday.
I'll accept it.
It was 40s with Bet365 yesterday. It got punted, but it wasn't me. But it's 40s in places, it's 33s with everybody. And the name of the horse is Champion Green for the Triumph Hurdle. Now, I've already tipped up Phil Dore for the...
Is that JP horse, Champion Green?
Yeah. It won a maiden in Punchestown over 9 furlongs. Maybe it won't stay, maybe it...
Oh, I know that
You know the
horse.
horse, yeah.
Yeah, it was impressive that day.
Yeah.
Did Wayne Lorden ride it?
Yes. It came from a long way back in Galway.
Yeah.
Missed the break. The last day it won a maiden. Second was Plum Noir, who has won a maiden since, is now rated 89. So this lad's definitely in the 90s.
Is it Joseph?
Yeah, Joseph and JP. So I would imagine it's very, very likely to go hurdling, because that's what they like.
You don't know if it's going hurdling?
No, but imagine that's what, they've had a good record. I don't.
Do you actually know?
I don't. But you'd imagine with the connections that it will, they've had a few goes to try and hurdle before, Ivanovic, Gorbatov, etc., even though that was Aidan, but it was really Joseph. 6 feet apart was third that day in the maiden for Joseph. That's come out and won a maiden hurdle since. Maracana, that was fourth. It's come out and won a maiden in Leopardstown since. So the form is good. I think it'll probably stay, because it looks like a 1.5 mile horse. Anyway, Champion Green, 33 to 1, 40 to 1. It's worth a fiver.
And you got the 40s?
Maybe.
Champion Green for the Triumph Hurdle is Gavin's selection at 50 to 1 or bigger, even though it's 40 to 1. And I actually cannot give mine, because it's going to be one of my selections later on in the show.
And it's 50 to 1.
It's 40 to 1.
Sure.
It's 40 to 1.
One rule for you, one rule for everybody
There
else.
is a 40 to 1 tip coming later on the show. So now it's time for the week that was Gavin Lynch's chance to impress you all, as you do every week, Gavin. Take it away and tell us what caught your eye.
Actually, that's not how to impress, but just to mention a few horses. Not as long, thankfully, as the last couple of weeks, because there was a lot to get through the last.
There was a lot to get through. I felt sorry for you. We were running with the water after.
We were. Going to start with Warwick on Wednesday. So I want you to repeat this horse's name, because then at least you can remember.
This horse is a machine. Is this the JP Skelton horse?
Yeah.
This is a machine.
So just remember the name, Hartur Dudery.
Hartur Dudery. I'm telling you now, ladies and gentlemen, right? Hartur
calm down,
Dudery.
will you?
No, I'm going to calm down. He's not going to Cheltenham.
not a novice hurdle.
He's
Yeah,
not
he's
going
not-
to Cheltenham,
no,
right?
no.
I guarantee you, if Bet365 keep us on, right, and Up in the Ante is still going in 2025, we'll be talking about this horse still. And he'll be running Gold Cup. I tell you,
get
Gavin,
very excited to
I
see
know,
that.
but I just saw something. You know, sometimes you see something. I saw something.
Can I tell you about a horse called Heart or Doodery?
Go on. Oh, I loved him.
You know that he won a...
Beat nothing now.
True.
Yeah.
He won a bumper 12 months ago in Le Mans in France, but he has some engine. You see what I did there now?
Sorry, go on.
He won a bumper in Le Mans. Le Mans, you know, the car race?
Oh.
Yeah. Listen, Dave, listen.
Very good.
He jumped very well. He won easy. He mightn't go to Cheltenham, as you said. Dan Skelton said they're going to take their time with him.
Yeah.
He's only a 4-year-old, gorgeous horse, but definitely one to keep an eye on in 12 months' time.
See when he gave him a squeeze just when he went to the inside, coming out of the blast?
Yeah.
And it just whoosh.
And his jumping through the race was very good. Edward Stone on the same card won a novice chase by 7 lengths. He's a 150 rated hurdler. It's his second season, I think, going chasing. He mightn't be good enough for an Arkle, but he's certainly the type that could end up in a Grand Annual.
Absolutely, yeah. I
Nice
like the way he jumps. He lands running.
Yeah. On to Thurles on Thursday. For the second week in running, we had West Cork last week, and this week we've West Cork Wildway, who beat your horse, the Boss's Oscar, by a length and a half. Stratton was third. The time of the race was 6 seconds slower than the handicap chase, and the highest rate in the handicap chase was 1:14, so that wouldn't sound fantastic.
No.
And
they cut the Boss Oscar. The cheek of that.
Yeah.
Bonkers.
Like, that's not a performance that wins a national chase. Do you know what I mean?
No, absolutely not. When the favourite came out, I said at least Boss Oscar's going to win now, but...
Yeah. Like, obviously, Run Wild Fred, if Michael O'Leary allows, will go for the national chase. I'd say Gordon would be praying that the Boss Oscar gets 145 or less to get into a Kimure.
Yeah.
But he was a 150 rated hurdler, so I'd imagine that even if he runs bad another 2 or 3 times, he won't get 145, I don't think.
No.
I think he'll be too high for that. On to Haydock on Saturday, as we said, the fantastic day's racing. We'll start with Brave Man's Game. He was receiving £4 from Itchy Feet, beat it by 2 3/4 lengths. He's now 4-1 favourite for the Brown Advisory, 5-1 in a lot of places. Jumping was amazing. I just, like you, wasn't overly gone with what I saw in the last furlong. I know everybody's going to say that Harry Cobden was easing him up and was kind of pulling him up near the line. I just didn't think that was the case. I think you need to go and look at the last furlong kind of closely from my eyes.
It's funny because earlier on in the show you said don't mind the final furlong in races.
Yeah. Well, in terms of races being won, I think races are won further out the field.
Money pulling your leg at him.
And that race was over at the last.
Yeah, just my point on that is that Itchy Feet did an Itchy Feet. That's the way he runs and snatches. And yes, he's still a good horse.
And he had to get a reminder with a certain
he had to get a reminder. And he tried to press Brave Man's Game, leaving the back straight. And I thought 3 out Brave Man's Game was going to win by 10 lengths. And I think he won by 2 3/4.
Yeah.
And it just, to me, watching it, I said, I don't know if he's a dare or stayer. And I think potentially, obviously, he would have to take on Bob Olinger in the Marsh. But I think it's his jumping that gets other horses in trouble. And I think that jumping over 2.5 miles is going to, like, he's going to be perfect in the Quarter Star Christmas at Kempton.
Yeah.
He'll win that.
He probably should, yeah.
Yeah, he'll win that. But I just don't know about Cheltenham, Brown Advisory.
Like, if you go back through the race he's won, the Challow Hurdle was a weak event. He bombs out. He goes to the front in a small run of race, won very, very easy. But then, like, if in the Ballymore behind Bob Bollinger, if he fell 2 out, we'd be all saying, oh, geez, it would have been some battle between them.
I would have said, because I tipped, I would have said he would have won.
There you go, because he was travelling so well.
Thank him.
To me, he doesn't quicken in the last couple of furlongs. We saw it in Aintree as well. Now, he's been very, very good twice over fences. I just want to see more before I'll be backing him.
He is, I would say, up there with the best novice jumpers I have ever seen in my life.
Definitely.
It's computer racing.
His technique is fantastic. He either does the feet go out in front, or else he curls them up. So he does both. So
it's just
he's got
to watch.
scope.
What did you say to me during the week if you were to bring young horses to see a horse jump?
Yeah, that's the horse you'd be showing them if you were a trainer. Get out an iPad and show all your horses how to jump, because his jumping is amazing. I just want to see more. I don't have proof yet in any race where he stayed on strong in the last 2 furlongs.
Do you know when he retires though, he'll be fine. Like, he's a career ahead of him, just doing workshops, going around different stables. Paul Nichols bringing him to each stable saying, this is how you get horses to jump.
He'll end up doing an eventing.
That is Brave Man's Game.
Yeah, a very good horse now at the same time. He's a 6-year-old.
Cracker, yeah.
Aplutar 7. Here's the thing for you. Aplutar won a hurdle race in France at 3, okay? He won
age thing again.
Yeah, he won his beginner's chase at 4. He won the novice handicap chase in Cheltenham at 5. He beat Shacklin Persois in Leopardstown at 5 over 2 mile. He finished third in the Ryanair at 6. He won the Savills at 6, second in the Gold Cup at 7, and now he wins the Betfair Chase at 7. Fantastic CV.
Wins the Gold Cup at 8.
Massive chance.
Wins a Gold Cup again at 9.
The one thing I'll say
Could
to you,
win at 10.
the race completely fell apart. Like Bristol de Mai was a non-event. Imperial Orla fell. It was a poor race. But A Plus Tard, it was the best jumping it's ever put in so far. Like when I backed it and tipped it up to win the Ryanair a couple of years ago, a year and a half ago, I looked at it yesterday. He made 7 mistakes in the Ryanair. As regards, he was just a bit slow at them, or else he made a mistake. Last year in the Gold Cup, he made 2 or 3 mistakes. This time he was flawless. Now maybe it's a case that it's easier to jump around Haydock because it's a flat track. And Cheltenham, you're up and down a little bit, so it's probably trickier. But if it jumps like that, it has a massive chance.
Can I make one pointer for people? Like, I was listening to shows all last week in the lead up to the Bedford Chase, and this is not essentially after timing because I said it on the Racing Post podcast. Stats, you can make stats suit yourself.
You can,
right? And everybody was taking on A Plus Tard, first of all because of the price, but secondly because he'd been beaten first time out for the last couple of seasons, right? But he was beaten first time out in the for 3 at Navan over 2 miles. One of them was against Ballyosheen, who was fit and ready, and that was his Gold Cup, as Enda Bulger said that day. So I just think sometimes you see, he's been beaten first time out. It doesn't necessarily...
He was second 3 times.
And the flip side of that, and not the flip side, but another thing to add to that is, in another way, Put the Kettle On. Everybody was saying how well Put the Kettle On goes fresh because he won the Slower the previous year. She won the Slower the previous year, but the Slower fell apart the previous year because Defi Desai was in it, was pulled up. It was a mess of a race. Duke to Geneva almost won it, and people were kind of using that as their argument for saying that she'd win it again. Whereas sometimes there's more to it than just you win first time out, you don't win first time out. There is more to it.
There is, you're right.
Now, it's not as good as your pointers, but that's my pointer.
Just to tell you, now that you mentioned Put the Kettle On, yesterday Henry came out and said they were going to step her up to 2.5.
Maybe.
Yeah, but she'll have an entry for the Champion Chase, the Ryanair and the Mayor's Chase, just to point it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also in Haydock on Saturday, Strictly a Dancer, a horse we mentioned last week, had one off 115, went up to 122, £7 only. It was raised for Cheltenham. It won quite well in the end. It might need to win again, actually, to get into the ratings in Cheltenham, but it's one that maybe is one to keep an eye on for the Kim Muir. On to Saturday and Ascot. Saturday still. Lost in Translation came back to his best to win over 2 mile 5, beat Master Tommy Tucker by 4 lengths. He's now going for the King George, not the Gold Cup. He's 14s for the King George, 20s for the Gold Cup. Just to bear in mind, in terms, this is the Cheltenham show, you know, maybe he'd have a bit of a squeak in the King George, but in Cheltenham, he's going to be 10 in March, and to me, that's too old.
Is he only 9 now?
Yeah.
Is he only 9?
Yeah.
Jesus.
So he'd have a chance, and it's as Colin Chisler would say, he's a lovely horse, but I don't see him win a Gold Cup.
Did you see somebody on YouTube was giving out saying, is this become an impressions show? I thought your impressions were very good.
Oh, well, sure. We're on to Buzz, who got a mention in Saturday's article in the Racing Post. Did you see that? No.
I did, yeah. Gavin Lynch told punters to back Buzz for the Stairs Hurdle. Yeah. And if they did, they'd be in clover now.
Yeah, I was impressed. He's a gorgeous grey horse. He's 7 years old. He's only 8-1 now for the Stairs Hurdle. He beat Song for Someone by 3 1/4 lengths. And he was getting, I think, £6 from Song for Someone. It was a decent time. He jumped really well. Like, Nicky's probably saying to himself, why did I keep running this horse over 2 miles for so long?
Can you do it, Nicky?
No. But he kept running him over 2 mile. He went to Aintree then for the Aintree Hurdle and was second to Abracadabras. Then he won the Cesarewitch over 2 mile 2. Now, if you win over 2 mile 2 and you outstay Burning Victory like you did, it looked beat that day of furlong out. I think it'll stay 3 miles. I think it jumps really well. It's got a turn of foot. I was very impressed on Saturday.
Have you stung the bookies at 20-1 for the Stairs?
A small bet. Didn't have enough on, the usual crack.
You didn't see what I did there, no?
Yeah, I Buzz, yeah. We're getting worse. Before midnight,
week. Try the veal.
Did very, very well to win.
Well done! Your charity bet.
Yeah, so...
That's 2 out of 2 from you.
Yeah, well, one was lucky and the other was lucky too.
No, you make your own luck in life.
A short head. But did very well to win because it was headed by Dolas at halfway and then had to come again in the straight, hung on by a short head. It won off 144, he won off 144, so probably end up the Grand Annual. In Goran Park, we'll start with Bob at 12 o'clock. Now 9-4 for the Marsh. To me, that seems very fair. Bet365 are a standout price at that. Everybody else is 2-1 or 15-8 or 7-4. So,
well, Brave Man's Game will beat him 10 times out of 10 according to Graham Rodway.
No. It was a decent beginner's chase. It won by 6.5 lengths. Bacardi's was in it. Ashtail Bob came down 3 out. Master McShee, Coccolino and Deal Kerr. It was a good beginner's chase. Like, as I said, had the scope down the back, jumped very well. A few little niggly things in the straight, but I wouldn't worry. I thought it was very good. And the next time, Bob will have Rachel back on board. So now Darragh O'Keefe is a great jockey, but just I think no harm to have Rachel on. Saint Felicien.
Can't run a Cheltenham in a novice now.
Just going to say, like, one of the bookmakers has it priced up for the Supreme. It won a hurdle race in Otay last March, so it's not a novice. But it won very well. It was 1 second slower than the handicap hurdle. Where that's going to end up, it's going to be tricky to find races for it because it's probably not up to a champion hurdle, we'd say. But does it go for that winners of one race in Limerick at Christmas or whatever? So it might go there. But it looks a decent horse. On to Navan on Sunday. Hollow Games.
Well, what did you make of this? This was a tough one to sum up, like.
How is that horse 8-1 for the Albert Bartlett? Like,
well, he should be 4s.
No, he should be more. Like, he was 14s, I think, a week ago. Now he's 8s.
Yeah.
It was 12 seconds slower than the 2.5 mile maiden hurdle.
Is that I know, but is that not a compliment to him that he was able to win a sprint?
Yeah. I just wonder why did Davy go so slow? Like, the horse had won over 2 mile 6. This was 2.5 mile, and it turned into a sprint. You'd imagine.
Yeah, but he was probably just lobbing along. Like.
Yeah. It just
you weren't impressed?
Not really. He's unbeaten. He's 5 out of 5, including his point-to-point 2 bumpers and 2 hurdle races. They're on about going to the Lawlers at Naas race next. I definitely wouldn't back him for that.
Well, the two things I'll say is, and they're both the same thing, both Gordon and Davy said after the race, this horse has way more speed than you think. So if you are thinking of backing him to win an Albert Bartlett, their initial reaction was, this lad has skiers. He's able to win a sprint over 2.5 miles in Navan. So maybe the Albert Bartlett mightn't be his race. Maybe it'll be the Ballymore.
I think he'll go for the Bartlett, but I think the race, there's a perfect race for him at Christmas. There's a novice hurdle in Limerick over 2 mile 7 that has a really good record towards the Albert Bartlett.
Faheen won that.
Did he?
Yeah.
Penn Hill won it. Fury Road won it in 2019. Last year, Vanillier was second in it, so that's got a good record.
Yeah,
but personally,
you can write Faheen in there now.
Okay. Hollow Games, I wouldn't have him for a Lawlers and Ace. He will have a chance maybe in a Bartlett, but he definitely has to show more than he showed. Run Wild Fred put in a brilliant performance to win the...
Went up a stone.
Is that what it's gone up?
159, yeah.
Yeah, so 5-1 favourite now for the National Hunt Chase. Seems a little bit unfair to me that a horse, right, that ran over fences last year, just because it didn't win, that it's still a novice. Surely the rules should be that if you run over fences in a season, you can't be a novice again next season just because you didn't win.
I don't know about that now, Gavin.
But you're not a novice.
Yeah, but you are if you haven't won.
You are.
So what do you do with maiden hurdles then? So if you haven't won a maiden hurdle, you're not maiden the next season?
No, but that's a different thing. It's
the same thing. It's hurdles and fences.
You can still run, I don't know. I think it's very unfair to
backing up your argument very well here now.
No.
So why you think just he's an unfair advantage being a novice?
Yeah, I think that's like his 7th run over fences, and that's his first win.
Second in the Grand National, second in the Thyestes.
I just think he's an experienced horse who's going against novices, but
I can. I'm only joking with you. I can see your point, but I just don't see how you. Maybe if you finish in the first 2 in a chase or something.
Don't know. Maybe it's something to look at, maybe not. Run Wild Fred, as I said, he's 5-1 for the National Hunt Chase. One thing to keep in mind is that, as Gordon said afterwards, he's got the National Hunt Chase written all over him, and he'd be a massive chance in it. It's only 3.5 weeks before the Aintree Grand National. So whether Michael O'Leary will allow that, I'm not sure, time will tell, but it's not a long time between. Do you think he'd run both?
Tiger for Aintree, he'd be grand.
Yeah. Just another thing to point out, it was a really good time. Cappard, who won the 2 mile 1 beginner's chase against Mount Leinster. Run Wild Fred did 24 furlongs. Cappard did 17, right? So it did 7 furlongs further. And Run Wild Fred was quicker per furlong than Cappard. So the time was really fast. Yeah.
And Mount Leinster went like the clappers?
Yeah, they went a good gallop, but Run Wild Fred went quicker per furlong. So.
Were you favourite for the National Hunt Chase?
Absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely, just short of
he's a quicker horse than I thought he was a year ago. A year ago I thought he was slow, but...
I was between him and the Boss Oscar for my tip last week in that race. I just thought there was a bit of value to be had with one of them.
Yeah, no, he did.
And as usual, I went for the wrong one, Gavin.
I backed Farclay each way in the Triton, but Run Wild Fred obliterated him, yeah. So.
Is that the week that was?
Yep.
That was the week that was. So each week here on Upping The Ante, we preview one of the Grade 1s at the Cheltenham Festival. And this week, it's the turn of the Champion Hurdle, the Tuesday feature.
We're going to skip the Ultima.
It's Grade 1 race, Gavin.
Yep.
Grade 1, well, kind of Grade 1. We'll probably do the Grade 2s as well, but we're skipping the Ultimate for now because that would last about 12 seconds. So at the moment in the Champion Hurdle with Bet365, Honeysuckle, the defending champion, is 7-4 favourite. The runner-up for the last 2 seasons, Sharjah, is 8-1. It is 10-1 Appreciated and Fernie Hollow, who look like they're both going to be sent over fences. 16-1 previous champion, Epatante, and 20-1 Bar. So we have to start off with Honeysuckle. We're going to see her Sunday in the Hatton's Grace Hurdle. She's going to try and win it for the 3rd time in a row. Will she do it?
Yeah.
Will she win the Champion Hurdle?
7-4, 7-4. Yep. I think 7-4 is value. The only reason
Do you think
yeah,
it's value?
it's value in terms of
If she gets there.
It's a good price, but I haven't backed her at 7-4. But it's just the fact that you have to wait 4 months to get paid, and it's a short price. But I was going to say jokingly, like, what has she ever done? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
She's 12 out of 12 over hurdles, plus she's won the point-to-point. She's rated 165. For any of the geldings to beat her, that means they've thrown above 172, and I can't see a 172 horse out there. Yeah, she should win. She was brilliant last year. She won, I think, by 6.5 lengths from Sharjah. I think Sharjah's going to miss the February race this year, which is a good idea.
Yeah, great idea.
She runs badly runs well at Christmas, runs badly at the Dublin Racing Festival, so I think they're skipping that. So that's a good idea.
Surely Sharjah each way, even at 8-1, is a better bet now than Honeysuckle at 7-4.
No.
Because you have your place angle.
I know, but like Sharjah's not from 4 against Honeysuckle. So
I know, yeah, but I'm just saying he is guaranteed to run his race at Cheltenham, second the last 2 years.
Yeah, but if you're second or third, yeah, maybe.
I know.
Appreciate it. Fernie Hollow go fences. Buzz probably go stairs. Epatons run this weekend in the fighting fifth.
She'll win now this weekend.
Yeah, now Monmoral looks like it's probably going to Newbury. Is that what Paul Nicholl said yesterday? More
Potentially,
so
we'll just ground related,
I thought Monmoral would maybe have a squeak. You're looking for a horse that can jump up to a huge standard.
Yeah.
Now Monmoral has won 5 out of 5. Was very impressive in Aintree. Beat Adagio. Adagio ran very well in the Great Wood off top weight at 147. So
you have something highlighted here down the bottom. I haven't seen it yet. Don't say it. But he's got a list of horses written out, and right down at the bottom you have Monmoral in highlighted, and you've one down the bottom here highlighted. What's that?
Tiupu was mad impressive in Nace for me. It beat last year's Triumph Hurdle winner by 12 lengths. Low soft ground. The day it got beat, as you said, I think last week, when it got beat in Furious, the ground was nearly good.
Yeah.
The ground on the Tuesday at Cheltenham will generally be good to soft. Plenty of giving it. Just, it's 1-4 out of 5. The day it got beat in Furious, that's the only time it got beat. So Tiupu's 25s, Monmoral at 20s. You're just looking for something to get to a huge standard, but...
Do you know what I was going to give in the earlier question, where it was find a horse that's 50-1 or bigger? Just because I thought he potentially could have finished second in last year's Champion Hurdle if he didn't make a mistake at second last. Aspire Tower's out till after Christmas, or maybe Christmas. And I just thought of 50-1, he's not going to win a Champion Hurdle.
You like that horse?
But he could be placed, he could be placed. He wasn't right at Punchestown. Good run last year in the Irish Champion Hurdle. Or in the race of Christmas, Madison Hurdle. I think Aspire Tower, 50-1. If you're looking for something at a bit of value, could be a little.
I think after this weekend, Honeysuckle will be even money for the Champion Hurdle.
Do you?
Yeah.
Wow. So Honeysuckle 7-4. You wouldn't put anybody off backing her now?
No. Just if you want to throw it into a double or a treble. But she's an absolute superstar. She doesn't get the credit she deserves. To be unbeaten in national hunt racing is so difficult because so many things can go wrong. Look at the Istabracks and so on. The champions we've seen, Cato Stars accepted, they've all been beat. She hasn't. So long may continue.
Honey.
Don't start.
It's all about Honeysuckle. So it's time for what's happening this week, and we've got loads going on these weekends, Gavin. It's bang, 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 bang. There's just no rest for the wicked, isn't there?
No, good.
So we're going to kick off with the Ladbrokes Trophy. 2 big Irish challengers in On the Ropes and Eclair the rear. What does Gavin Lynch like?
Maybe On the Ropes. Very impressive in the Munster National. Has now gone to, won that off 141. The Irish rating 152 and gets to run here off 153. So it's only a pound higher. I'd be a little bit worried. I think the trip, it's 3 mile 2, don't forget. It's not 3 miles. Eclat de Rear, I'd love the horse if the ground was soft or soft to heavy. I'd be all over it. But they're talking about, I read the forecast, it's like good to soft, maybe even good in places. So it's got an Irish rating 152, gets in here at 154, jumps brilliant. Wasn't overly impressive in Wexford, but a fabulous horse.
I just thought
my ground was the only worry really.
I just thought in Wexford he did what he had to do, but conflated, absolutely upscuttled.
I know.
I don't know if that's a word. Upscuttled about 5 fences. I'd say they had to be repaired afterwards.
Yeah.
And he still was kind of had a small squeak in between the final 2 fences. I was going, that shouldn't happen.
Yeah. I think it's a race that you have to get into a rhythm and be in the right posse. Cloth Cap, last year's winner, is now £18 higher, so that's too much. And Rillo as well fancied. It's only a 5-1 shot. Fiddler on the Roof is 6-1. Kitty's Light is 9-1. What do you like?
I like one of this.
Do you?
I do, yeah. I started looking at this race thinking the one horse I definitely wouldn't fancy is Fiddler on the Roof.
Okay.
And I finished it thinking the one horse I definitely fancy is Fiddler on the Roof.
Ideal.
It's funny how you get an impression from a horse and you start thinking things. And if I asked you to describe Fiddler on the Roof in one word, what would you say? Disappointing maybe, or,
Yeah.
Won a Talworth. and you kind of think, he's been disappointing.
I remember him winning a bumper in Navan.
I was shocked to see that he's only had 8 runs over fences.
Okay.
And he hasn't actually been as disappointing as you kind of are led to believe.
He was second in the Brown Advisory,
He was second in the Brown Advisory behind Monkfish and was really challenging coming down to the last. I think he's unexposed at this sort of a trip.
Okay.
The race he won in Carlisle, given Pay the Piper Waite, who ran okay at Newbury at the weekend behind Brave Man's Game. Ran okay. He was given at Haydock, sorry. He was given Pay the Piper Waite at Carlisle.
Okay.
Espoir de Ramée was third.
Yeah.
It just struck me as a type of performance that made me think Tizzard's horses are in better form now than they were last season. And he ran well when Tizzard's horses weren't running well.
No.
He's run off a mark of 150. You're kind of saying this is a proper Grade 2 horse. He's probably not an out-and-out Grade 1 horse, but he's a proper Grade 2 horse who's running off 150. I think he's well handicapped. I think he's unexposed over this trip. I think he's been laid out for this race. And I think Tizzard's horses are in much better form now. And I think Fiddler on the Roof is going to be extremely hard to beat.
As Colin say, a lovely horse.
A lovely horse. We haven't got many impressions. We have 2 Tizzards. That's all so far this week.
Very, very good race. I don't know, maybe for me, maybe on the ropes, but not with a lot of confidence.
On the ropes, something Gavin is never is his tip in the Ladbrokes Trophy, and I'm going for Fiddler on the Roof. Fighting fifth. Yeah. Obviously, it revolves around Mon Morale if he turns up or not. Yeah,
the vibes are that he probably won't. So that should leave it open for Epatante to beat So Royal again, like he did last year. So that's it, really.
Yeah, no, she's...
If Mon Morale doesn't show up, if he doesn't show up, she'll definitely be... 2s
on the champion hurdle team. Just if you want to have a small few quid each way, she's 16-1 Epatante.
Nicky's happy with her this year.
Yeah, I think she's a different mare this year. And I think Epatante, if she won impressively on Saturday, which she's likely to do, even if she's not back to herself, she could be a single figure price for champion hurdle after Saturday.
Yeah, you just have to be careful with all the talk and racing.
No, not talk. I was there.
No, I know, but what trainers say and stuff.
No, but I seen her
before races and I've
seen her myself. It'll be
anyway, Saturday will tell.
She worked with Buzz.
Okay.
She worked far better than Buzz.
Did she?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's obviously she's quicker than Buzz, but I think that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
No?
Okay.
Moving on to Ferry Outs on Sunday. Unfortunately, we're filming this before the 5-day forfeits, so that's to get it out quicker, Gavin.
Yep.
So people have access quicker. 3 Grade 1 races at Ferry House on Sunday: the Royal Bond, the Hatton's Grace, and the Drimmore, all sponsored by Bar One Racing. And Hatton's Grace, Honeysuckle, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Will Classical Dream run, do we think?
I don't know. 3-1 looks a bit short to me. The 4-7, 3-1 tens bar. Saldier is 10-1.
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't put anybody off.
Who?
The horse that his trainer can't pronounce. Abacadabras. Abacadabras will run well here, I think.
Okay.
One first time out last year in the Morgiana. Was supposed to run the Morgiana this year, first time out. Looks like he's going to run now over 2.5 miles. Won the entry hurdle over 2.5 miles. Beat Buzz. I just thought Abacadabras could run well, or Abacababras, as Gordon calls him.
The Royal Bond, just a few to mention. Not sure if they'll be in the 5-day decks. Mighty Potter, My Mate Mozzie, 3 Stripe Life, We Seek Him Here. 3 of them are Gordon's, and Impervious, the mare.
Yeah.
She'll be getting the £7.
It looks like Mighty Potter and 3 Stripe Life are going to run for Gordon.
Okay.
My Mate Mozzie runs as well. Them 3 are definite runners.
My Mate Mozzie, very impressive in Punchestown. Jumped a little bit to its right in Navan, so better going maybe this way around. For me, the 2 I'd like be My Mate Mozzie or Mighty Potter.
I like Mighty Potter. I think he's really good.
Yeah, he's 2 out of 2.
The few people around him in the yard think he's really good as well.
Yeah, he was good in Down Royal.
Mighty Potter for me, yeah.
The Drinmore Novices Chase, usually a very, very good race every year.
Yeah, this year just...
Yeah, nothing jumping off the page. I'd like Lifetime Ambition, very impressive in Down Royal. Jumping was absolutely brilliant. Yeah. Beat Beacon Edge and Vanillier, 2 good horses. Vanillier has won since. So maybe Lifetime Ambition.
Yeah. Just a bit disappointed with the entries there.
Okay.
Obviously, we haven't seen any absolute stars so far.
The Bar 1 Juvenile hurdle on Sunday as well. Phil Dorr, hopefully he does the business.
You like him, don't you?
Yeah. Well, he was very impressive again in Down Royal. So. And also, there's usually a very decent bumper on Sunday, the last race of the day, so keep an eye on that.
Yeah, Fernie Hollow was beaten in it a few years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And Identity Thief won it once upon a time.
Okay.
There you go. So that's what's happening this week.
Yeah.
Plenty, I tell you, the show next week, the week that was, you're going to be looking for 3 bottles of water. Plenty happening this week. Enjoy it. That was what's happening this week. Now it's Upping the Stakes time, and what a start we've had to Upping the Stakes, trying to raise some much needed funds for Cancer Trials Ireland. And Gavin, like with the charity cycle, you have been playing an absolute blinder.
Oh, no.
You've been knocking it out of the park.
I've
2
been
weeks,
lucky.
2 winners, before midnight, gin and lime, absolutely bolted up the 2 of them. What did before midnight win by?
Short head.
The nose. And what did gin and lime win by? The length of the track.
Yeah. It's better to be lucky than good.
It is. So what is your latest selection for Upping the Stakes? We're trying to raise money for Cancer Trials Ireland.
I was thinking of Phil Door, but might be too short. Maybe Lifetime Ambition in the Drinmore.
Okay, Lifetime Ambition for Gavin in the Drinmore.
And you?
And I'm fiddling on the roof. Fiddler on the roof, but I don't want the current price. I don't want the current price. 5-1 at the moment. I want SP. I'm going to ask Bet365 for SP because I think he'll return a bigger price than he is at the moment. Yeah. But Fiddler on the Roof for me, off 150 in the Ladbrokes Trophy, is my latest selection for Upping the Stakes. And Gavin is with?
Lifetime Ambition.
Lifetime Ambition in the Drinmore Fairyhouse on Sunday. So now it's time for our latest Ante Post picks, Gavin.
Yep.
And now you went for 2 last week.
I did.
So we have to even it up. And I said the quickest way to do that is for me to tip 2 this week and you to tip 1.
Go ahead.
So I have 2 this week. And you know what price they are, Gavin? They are 40-1 and 33-1. So I'm going for the big ones this week. I've had a rethink about how to do things.
Okay.
And I've just said to myself, in the early weeks, we have to take a chance. You've got to take a chance. You've got to take a chance on something. So
any horse a chance.
I'm taking a chance on these 2 this week, okay? So I'll give you the biggest price selection first. My first selection this week is Might I for the Ballymore Novices Hurdle, okay? Shorter price for the Supreme, but the reason I think Might I might go for the Ballymore is because he's a half-brother to Statler, who's obviously a stayer, and he's a half-brother to another horse that's a strong stayer as well. So I just think Might I, when he steps up and trip, could be very good, okay? He won a Warwick bumper first time out. Liked him. Thought it was a good bumper. Liked the way he travelled. Liked the way he finished his race. Just liked him. And he was 16-1. Wasn't that well fancied. Then was well back for a Newbury winner's bumper next time out.
That was a good race.
Traded really short in running. Travelled like the best horse in the race. Didn't see it out. Harry Fry's horses were in terrible form at the time. Terrible. And he said the horse didn't scope well or wasn't well after the race. So I would kind of put a line through it. You can see if you stop the race, the 2 furlong pole, you say to yourself, that's a beast of a horse. And then just didn't see it out, okay? First time out over hurdles at Newton Abbot. You laugh because it's Newton Abbot. How can a horse that wins a Newton Abbot win a Ballymore? But he beat a horse called Thunder Rock, okay, by 11 lengths. And from the last to the line, he probably put from 6 lengths to 11 lengths between himself and Thunder Rock. Thunder Rock, who Ollie Murphy thinks quite a bit of, won his maiden hurdle next time at Wetherby. And is now rated 122. I'd say he'll go up higher than that, maybe to 130. He's probably a 130 horse. Might I beat him well, okay? Might I, to me, when he steps up and trip, could be very good. He is unexposed. He was supposed to run the first race at Haydock on Saturday, but he was taken out because of the ground. It was just a little bit too quick. And just when you see his jumping, he's not really slick. He's fine. He's not really slick. I just think when Harry, if you're listening, and hopefully he is, just have a little think about stepping him up and trip, because given his breeding and given the way he races and the way he jumps, I think when he steps up and trip, he could be good. He's 40-1 for the Ballymore. I think he's a good horse. And I just like the run at Newton Abbot. So I'm going to take a chance on Might I for Harry Fry, who of course went so close to winning the Ballymore a couple of years ago with Neon Wolf. So I think he could go one better this time, Gavin.
Okay.
Might I, my first selection, 40-1 Bet365 for the Ballymore Novices Hurdle. And my second selection this week, 33-1. The one price I can't say, 33-1, is in the Mayor's Hurdle, and it is Burning Victory. 33-1 with Bet365 for the Mayor's Hurdle. Now, jumping obviously is a big issue with Burning Victory. She's a Triumph Hurdle winner. She was second in Tsarewitch, giving a couple of pounds to Buzz, which I thought was a hell of a performance. And while I'm worried about her jumping, stepping up and trip could just help her a little bit. Like 2 miles in the Triumph Hurdle. How she managed to win the race, I'll never know, but
Paul was actually very patient on her. He let her fiddle and he let her make a couple of mistakes.
I'd say he kind of half gave up and just said, we'll kind of
the new track probably suited her with the 2 hurdles in the last 7.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things that worry me. The old track, where there's plenty of jumping inside the final mile, and obviously just the fact that we don't know if she's definitely going to run the race, but she's entered in the Hatton's Grace Hurdle at Fairyhouse on Sunday. If she were to run well in that, and that will kind of help her experience jumping, I just think 33-1 is too big of a price for a mare of that ability. She's only rated 143 over hurdles, but I think she's a bit better than that. We've seen from the Tsarewitch that she's in good form at the moment. And I think if she were to run well in the Hatton's Grace on Sunday, I think she could be 12-1.
Okay.
So, Burning Victory, 33-1, Mayor's Hurdle, my latest selection in my Ante Post picks for the 2020 Cheltenham Festival.
The one thing I'd say about the Mayor's Hurdle is that it's 8-1 the field at the moment. There's nothing jumping off the page.
No.
It's It's a very open race. It's not a vintage renewal. You don't have some of the superstars that we've had before. So
you're not laughing at me?
No, definitely not. It's just down to her jumping. She definitely, I'd say, has the best engine. If it was a 2 mile flat race, I'd back her definitely to beat all those. But just see how her jumping goes, yeah.
Absolutely. So there you go, 40 to 1 Might I and 33 to 1 Burning Victory. Over to you, Gavin.
I am going to go for a horse on Tuesday in the 2 mile novice chase, which is called the Arkle. And I'm going for Fernie Hollow at 10 to 1.
Oh.
Taking a bit of a flyer, a bit of a guess.
Gavin Lynch doesn't guess.
Obviously, Willie has the favourite Appreciated, and he's got Fernie Hollow. I did a double last March or April after Cheltenham. Appreciated 4 to 1. Bob Bollinger 4 to 1. She was a brilliant double, 24 to 1. And then Willie comes out and says, oh, Fernie Hollow's going chasing. So that kind of was a bit of a sickener at the time. But for value, I think he's overpriced at 10 to 1. If you go back through his career, he won a point-to-point over 2.5 miles. But he has shown a lot of gears. It took them a while to learn how to, as normal, it took him a couple of runs to figure out the horse. He had been up in the running, got beat in this Sunday bumper in Fairy House. He got beat in Leopardstown. Then they changed the tactics. He put a hood on for the first time, held it up, won easy at Fairy House. Then came and beat Appreciated by 2.5 lengths under a brilliant ride from Paul Townend. Held up in mid-division, came late, showed loads of toe to win the champion bumper. Then it goes and beats Bob Ollinger in Gorham Park over 2 miles, wearing the hood again. So to me, like this time last year, the race he beat Bob Ollinger was actually last Saturday in Gorham Park. So this day last year, Fernie Hollow was favoured for the Supreme, Appreciate was favoured for the Ballymore. And then Fernie picked up a small injury and he missed the rest of the season. So therefore, that's why I think Appreciate.
Does the injury worry you?
A little bit, but in the last, say, month, we've seen a number of, say, stable tours, and Willie and Patrick, and I think my brother John said that Ruby said it as well, that they all mentioned Fernie Hollow very positively, that he was in brilliant form, working really well, looking forward to him running again, and that he's going chasing. I just think at 10 to 1 it's a wrong price. Now maybe he'll go to the Marsh, maybe Appreciate will stay at the Arkle, but Appreciate won a bumper over 2.5. He's won a point-to-point over 3. When he was second in the bumper to Fernie Hollow, Patrick said afterwards, this lad's going to be a 2.5, 3 miler. Now, it doesn't bother me if Appreciate shows up in the Arkle with Fernie Hollow grand. You know, you have to run against good horses.
Yeah.
You just can't have a freebie. But
at this stage, you think this could be a 2-horse race?
I don't. They're the two standouts in the race. Third time lucky would want to show more. He's wasting too much energy in the middle of the race, we said. 2 mares are worth a mention. Riviere de Tel was very impressive the last day, but I just want to see her going left-handed, see does she jump to the right. And Magic Days was very impressive, particularly on the clock in Cork. They're going to be getting £7. They're big dangers, but the two that stand out for me at the moment are Fernie Hollow, who has beaten Bob and beaten Appreciated. And Appreciated is obviously a huge danger. But I just think 10 to 1 doesn't sound the right price.
I think you're right. You've made a compelling case there, Gavin.
Anyway, we'll see.
Yeah, so 10 to 1, Fernie Hollow in the Arkle. The second race on day 1 of the 2022 Cheltenham Festival is Gavin Lynch's latest selection. So Gavin, we're into week 3, so we have to have a tiny,
quick look.
Incy-wincy look back at our selection so far. For anybody who's missed, shame on them if you've missed any of the first 2 shows. But we'll just have a quick look back. You've 3 selections, well 4 now. Yeah. So you started off on week 1.
Gallop into Champ at 7 to 1 for the Brown Advisory.
Haven't seen him yet?
No, Brave Man's Game is stepping into the breach there at the minute. He's now gone favourite, but I'd be happy enough Gallop into Champ. And 2 selections last week, Fildor and American Mike, 10 to 1, 11 to 2 for the Triumph and the Bumper. Both impressive on the same day. So yeah, happy enough for those 2 at the minute. Okay, Fildor might run this Sunday perhaps. Yeah, and that price could be gone. My 2 selections so far, well 4 now because there was 2 today. Obviously the 2 today, big prices. Might I 40 to 1 for the Ballymore, 33 to 1 Burning Victory for the Mare's Hurdle. And my selection week 1 was Time Hill for the Stayers Hurdle at 8 to 1. Was hoping he might run at Newbury on Friday, but he's not entered. So we'll probably see him in the long walk before Christmas. He probably needed a break after. Yeah, after France, And my second selection, which is basically gonzo already, was the Boss's Oscar in the National Hunt Chase, because it looks like Run Wild Fred is the number 1 hope for the stable. And I'm sick. I was so close between them 2. Were you? I was, yeah. And when Gordon, in that National Hunt Chase, Gordon gets a horse in his head. And I thought it was the Boss's Oscar, but it turns out it was Run Wild Fred. At the time, he was definitely on my short list. 2 others in that race, Vanillier and On the Ropes, maybe Statler, but On the Ropes and Vanillier would be interesting too, maybe. Yeah, so there you go. I think you're ahead on the list front at this moment in time. Very early days yet though, Gavin. Yeah, lots to go. So that's a quick look at our Ante Post list for the 2022 Cheltenham Festival. So folks, that's it for week 3 of Upping The Ante in association with Bet365. Brilliant racing this weekend, Gavin. Yes. Newbury, Newcastle Saturday, and we're racing in your back garden basically on Sunday in Fairy House. I could cycle up to it. You could cycle, and
I hope you're going.
I can't. The Screen ladies are playing in the Leinster Club quarter-final, and we went to the county final, which they won there 2 weeks ago. So my daughters want to see it, so I have to bring them to that.
So you are, despite what people think, you are a little bit of a family man?
Ah, yeah. And I'll be watching the Drinmore on my phone. But
at least you're not umpire anyway.
No, that'll help.
Okay,
but brilliant weekends racing. As we said, Newbury, Newcastle, Fairyhouse. Yeah, very good.
And could you not tempt them to come the whole family to come with you to Fairyhouse?
I'd say they'd be bored off their head, but I wouldn't be. They just, they're too young to appreciate it.
Okay, appreciate it. WP Mullins. That's it. That is week 3 of Upping the Ante. I've been David Jennings. He's been Gavin Lynch. Thanks for joining us. If you're having a bet this weekend, don't forget to gamble responsibly. Only bet what you can afford to lose. Thanks for watching.